I apologize, y'all. This drives me crazy.
Susan,
We're ready.
Susan, it looks like it's live now.
Yeah,
So we're ready to go then, huh?
we are ready to go,
All
minus
right.
the technical difficulties.
Yeah, well, don't worry about it, Susan. Those things happen. We certainly want to welcome everyone to the Vinton Town Council meeting for this rainy Tuesday afternoon, May 19th. And as usual, we'll ask Susan to get things started by calling the roll and whatever disclaimers we have to have this evening.
All right, first I'll do a roll call of council. Councilmember McCarty,
Here.
Councilmember Scheid,
Here.
Councilmember Stovall,
Here.
Vice Mayor Lyles,
Here.
Mayor Gross.
Here.
We do have a quorum of council present, town staff that are also present: Barry Thompson, Susan Johnson, Pete Peters, Chastity Barber, Ann Cantrell, Joey Heiner. Also present, Jeremy Carroll, our town attorney, Debbie Adams with the Vinton Messenger, Dan Miles with the Roanoke Valley Resource Authority. I would like to confirm that our meeting is being held in accordance with Town Ordinance Number 1016 and Amendment 28 to House Bill 29, adopted at the 2020 reconvened session of the Virginia General Assembly, and everyone present is participating by electronic means. Mayor, the meeting is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. Folks, we'll move to our moment of silence, and here in Vinton, we use a moment of silence. That gives everyone an opportunity to pray as they see fit. If you pray during this time, and I certainly hope you will, I plan to pray, I would ask you to keep this country, this community, and certainly the council meeting here tonight in your prayers. I will ask you to stand for that, and while we're standing, we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance, even though that may be kind of awkward tonight. I'll close out the moment of silence, and we'll ask the Vice Mayor to have the Pledge of Allegiance. So you'll stand for those two items, please. Thank you, Heavenly Father, for our country. We just pray for your blessings upon it. And we also pray that you will continue to bless our community and that you watch over us during this meeting tonight. For it's in his holy name we pray. Mr. Vice Mayor.
Yes, please face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Thank you, folks. Appreciate that. You know, one thing I've noticed about that, when you're by yourself, you have to remember more than just the first few words of the pledge. So I'm glad that we got through that okay. The next item is a request to postpone or change. Do you folks have any requests? And Susan, have you received anything?
No, sir.
Nothing? Okay. Hearing nothing, we'll move on to our upcoming events, and typically Councilmember McCarty handles that for us.
Yes, tonight we have a special group that is joining us that I want to say hi to, and that's the Leadership Roanoke Valley. They are the LRV. They're watching the town council meeting tonight via Facebook as part of their graduation requirements. So welcome. We're glad to have you tonight. Also need to mention a couple of cancellations. We are being very cautious with the virus, and the town has made some very hard decisions, but we have decided to cancel the 4th of July celebration, as well as the 2 Mingle at the Markets in June, June the 13th and June the 27th, in hopes that we'll be able to get back to our normal schedules, hopefully later in July. But just wanted to let everybody know that those are canceled. I would also like to take the opportunity to say congratulations to all of the 2020 graduates that graduated today at William Byrd High School. And thanks to the town of Vinton and to William Byrd for the wonderful festivities that they had going on in the town today. I know that it rained and they've had a lot of things against them, but I know they're still happy that they graduated, and I just wanted to know that we're very proud of them. And that's all I have, unless Pete or Debbie, anybody have anything else? Okay. All right.
Okay, thank you for that. All right, the next item is the consent agenda. And tonight it has a couple items on it. The minutes of the regular council meeting of April 7th. Also a resolution that would appropriate $213.66, which is a reimbursement for the 2020 census mailing. Are there any additions or corrections? If not, we'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
I'll second. Oh, sorry.
Okay. The motion was by Councilmember Scheid, second by Councilmember Riccardi. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 All right. Thank you, folks. So we'll move on to our presentations and introductions. And tonight, just want to let you know about a few proclamations that have been issued. The first one is for the GBS CIDP awareness, and that's for the month of May. Also National Police Week, and that's the week of May the 10th through the 16th. Also, there was a proclamation for National Public Works Week, May 17th through 23rd. And a very special proclamation to honor the William Byrd High School class of graduating class of 2020, making this their very special day here in the town of Vinton, and this is called Terrier Day. So we certainly want to congratulate the graduating class with Terrier Day promotions. And with that, we'll move on to the citizens' comments. Susan, had you received anything prior to the meeting?
No, sir, no request to speak tonight.
Okay, thank you. And with that, I want to say hello to Jeremy. Jeremy, good looking bow tie there, buddy. Glad you're with us.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right. With that, we'll move on to the town manager section. Barry, it's all yours, sir.
Thank you, sir. The first item is under items requiring action is the consideration of adoption of a resolution approving the 2020-2021 operating budget of the Roanoke Valley Resource Authority. And tonight we have Mr. Dan Miles, the Executive Director of the Roanoke Valley Resource Authority. So Dan, would you mind presenting to council the 2020-2021 operating budget?
Glad, Mr. Thompson. Thank you very much. And thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of Town Council for your consideration this evening for the Roanoke Valley Resource Authority's upcoming FY 2021 annual budget. As you know, normally we would have presented this budget prior to April 1st, but we requested and received an extension from each of our member communities to delay that presentation of the budget because of all of the activities that are going on with the COVID-19 these days. We do have the budget in front of you now in the amount of $12,597,597. That budget is a balanced budget, meaning our expenses and our revenues do match one another. In order for those to match, we are utilizing $147,572 of our contingency reserve fund in order to balance those two items together. The budget does represent a overall decrease of $1,236,089, which is almost a 9% decrease from the current fiscal year budget. And then also please note that the proposed budget does not include any increase in the municipal tipping fee as well. One point that I would like to make with the consideration of this budget is to note the reason we are able to reduce the budget by that amount in that percentage is because we are utilizing what we normally would have put towards our reserve funds. So we are borrowing from Peter to pay Paul, in essence, to reduce the budget and not have a tipping fee increase. If you do look through the budget, in the budget summary, what you will see in our contributions to reserves is we have been steadily decreasing the contribution to the reserves for the last 4 years. 4 years ago, we were at about $2.3 million in contributions to reserves. This year, we are at $10,000. So we have effectively cut $2.3 million from our budget over the last 4 years on an ongoing basis. This is not a healthy thing to do. When you look at the health of any entity and you look at the net worth of that organization and you see a declining net worth balance consistently, such as what we have seen for the last 4 years, that does not ode well for a healthy organization. I would not say we're a healthy organization right now. We are battling through trying to continue to figure out what we're going to do with our transportation methodology. We are at a point where, in essence, something's going to have to be made. There's a decision that has to be made, and it's not going to be an easy one to be made by our board. But it has to be made in order for this organization to move forward, for us to figure out who we want to be when we grow up. So it's not a message for a budget that is a good message, but it is a message that, as we're doing with a lot of the municipalities these days, we are looking to survive. When we get into the fiscal year, I would imagine we're going to have some changes to this budget. I would say that this is a placeholder budget. We don't really know what's going to be happening with our revenues. We know that businesses are shut down. We have a substantial amount of our waste stream comes from the commercial sector that collects from the businesses in and around the Roanoke Valley region. If these businesses stay closed and do not produce product and are not creating materials that are going to come back to us, we will not be generating revenue. So it'll be something that we're going to have to address as we get into the process and better understand exactly what's going on. And with that, I will stop, and I'll be glad to answer any questions, or I'll try to answer any questions you may have.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
Mr. Miles, that one comment, which, yeah, thank you for your presentation and the budget. What, just if you can just elaborate for a moment, when you made the comment of when we find out what we want to be when we grow up, can you tell me what that means?
It means that right now we're struggling to figure out what our identity is going to be with our transportation. When the authority was formed in 1993, it was established using Norfolk Southern to transport our waste to the regional landfill via rail under contract with Norfolk Southern. That 25-year contract expired in 2016. And since then, we have been, I'm sorry, that was in 2018, the contract expired. Since then, we have entered into a new 5-year contract with Norfolk Southern, but also trying to figure out whether we're going to be continuing to utilize Norfolk Southern with their rail haul transportation or trucking the garbage and setting our stations up to be able to utilize tractor trailers as our transportation mode. Until we come to that consensus, we don't know what equipment to buy. For example, equipment at our transfer stations and our landfill is different for rail mode versus tractor trailer. So we've got a lot of aging equipment we're not able to schedule a replacement for because we don't know what we're going to replace it with. And that's what I mean when we grow up, when we figure out what that transportation mode is going to be. I hope that answers your question.
It did. Yeah, it did. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Dan, thank you. Any other questions or comments from council?
please.
Oh, I'm
Mr.
sorry.
Miles, this is Janet. You talked about the declining net worth of the organization. Would you have been in that situation even without the COVID-19
Yes,
epidemic? You
Yes.
would have been.
yes,
And that's because of the confusion over the transportation methodology.
that is correct.
Okay, so what I guess what I'm interested in hearing your thoughts on is what has to happen to get off the dime on that transportation methodology? Because this has been going on, I think we're in the third year of this discussion. And is it, I mean, what is it? Is it it's a decision that the board has to make? Are you still pursuing the rezoning of that property in order to allow for the transportation via trucks to happen?
Excellent question, Ms. Scheid. Yeah, we did receive the special use permit for the landfill operation that was needed. So that aspect is behind us now. In that special use permit, it allows the Resource Authorities Board to make a determination as to the mode of transportation it chooses to utilize in the transportation corridor in and around the Smith Gap landfill. So that part is behind us. Our board has also authorized a outside contractor to reopen negotiations with Norfolk Southern to try to determine another best and final offer. We have done that twice. So this will be the third time we have requested for and received a best and final offer from Norfolk Southern in order to try to make a determination. And as well, Roanoke County has also engaged a consulting engineer to review the cost projections and engineering estimates for the road conversion project to make a determination as to whether or not what they're seeing is valid. So all those two things are going on simultaneously right now. We are anticipating reports from both of those projects to be back at the end of June. So we are looking in July for our board to receive the reports on the negotiations with Norfolk Southern as well as the engineering's report on the projections and cost estimates and engineering work.
So are you hoping to get another 25? I mean, in an ideal world, or maybe not your ideal world, but in a ideal world, would you be getting another 25-year contract with Norfolk Southern?
I don't see that happening. And in fact, the longest term contract Norfolk Southern had indicated to me in my negotiations with them had been a 10-year period. And of course, when you're looking at buying equipment such as flat cars that would have a 50-year life expectancy, and you're talking about issuing debt or leasing equipment that's got a longer life expectancy than the term of your contract, that's a difficult evaluation to make as well. So that's part of the struggle. But the outside group that's doing the negotiation is comprised of former Norfolk Southern employees that retired. They're very familiar with our operation as well as Norfolk Southern's. So they would probably have an inside track as being able to obtain the longest term contract Norfolk Southern would be willing to provide to us. Trucking, trucking, that is not really an issue for us, because with trucking, we would be able to switch contractors at any given moment. There are any number of transport providers from a trucking standpoint that would be able to serve our needs. With rail, we've only got one service provider.
Right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
So you've ran those numbers, I'm sorry. So you've ran those numbers to realize that trucking, of course, you can transport it trucking cheaper than by rail?
Yes, sir. In fact, we've done that several times, and now I guess we're getting ready to do it for the third time, based on whatever cost we can get from Norfolk Southern. So when we get a revised pricing from Norfolk Southern to be able to transport the waste, that we'll plug that into the evaluation and run it again. The issue that we've got now is really on a sunk cost basis. It really is not even on an operating basis.
Right.
The board has previously authorized the expenditure of quite a bit of funds to transition to trucking. In order to convert to trucking, we would need to spend somewhere in the $6 to $7 million range to finish out all of our acquisitions, our capital acquisitions, in order to make that change. Now with rail, we would be somewhere north of $23, $24 million. So when you look at just the capital alone, it's very hard to figure out how Norfolk Southern would be able to provide a competitive rate, but we're looking at that.
So the rail price of 23 million is to upgrade the rail?
Well,
The
$8.5
ra-
million.
and the cars
Right,
to
that's all of it. In order to utilize rail, we currently use gondolas for hauling the garbage
Right.
to the landfill.
Right.
We can no longer get gondolas. So our
Right.
current status quo methodology is no longer an option. So in order to use rail, we would have to transition to using flat cars and shipping containers. So we would have to buy the flat cars or lease the flat cars. We would have to buy the shipping containers, Hyster lifts. We would have to purchase quite a bit of additional equipment, as well as another $8.5 million in updates to the rail. Over the first 25-year term of our contract with Norfolk Southern, they were responsible for maintaining the rail. When the contract expired in 2018 and we assumed ownership of the rail spur, the 4.5 mile dedicated rail spur that goes into the landfill, we were able to get an outside engineer to go in, evaluate it. We need to spend about another $8.5 million in accordance with our rail consultant to keep the tracks in usable form for another 20-year period of time. So
Yeah.
that $8.5 million would go towards that 20-something million dollars.
Okay.
Yeah, well, Dan, obviously you're right. That's there is going to have to be some difficult decisions made, and I'm sure that's going to have a major impact on future budgets. And I do appreciate the way you've expressed the placeholder term that you used. I think that's probably the way a lot of us feel, because we really don't know where the COVID-19 thing is going to leave us. Hopefully in good shape, but we really don't know. So are there any other questions concerning this budget from council?
Not just a question, but I'm like Ms. Scheid. I remember this has been going on almost for 3 years, over 3 years. And Dan, is it true that most of those trucks, haven't they already been purchased? Because wasn't that decision made at the very beginning and then we backtracked to revisit Norfolk Southern? So if I remember correctly, I thought the whole project that was 15 million, we'd already spent so much on trucks already. Am I right there thinking that?
Well, actually, they're trailers. We have
Trailers, yeah, that's what I meant.
trailers.
Trailers,
We're using a contractor to provide the tractors. So so
Right.
we have purchased the trailers, yes, sir.
Right,
We have
so,
spent almost $20 million towards the conversion to trucking.
okay.
Right.
So it's really
Right.
a lot more than
Right.
the original price anyway, because we're already in the hole for the trailers if you go to the rail anyway, right?
That's correct. That's what I said. That's a sunk cost.
Yeah, okay.
So the book.
Okay. All right. Well, as I say, maybe we should move on with the discussion of this particular operating budget, because that is, we have before us tonight the 2020-21 operating budget. Any other questions or comments on that? No. Okay, folks, as I say, we do have that resolution before us. If there are no other questions or comments, we will entertain a motion
So moved.
for approval. Okay,
I'll second it.
okay. We have a motion by Councilman Stovall, second one by Council Member Scheid. I think that was you, wasn't it, Janet? Yeah.
Yes.
Susan, please call the roll.
Councilmember McCarty,
Yes.
Councilmember Scheid,
Yes,
Councilmember Stovall,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lyles,
Yes.
Mayor Gross.
Yes. And so the resolution for the budget passes. Thank you, Dan, for your presentation. Certainly appreciate it. Always good to see you.
Yeah, thanks, Dan.
Good night.
good night.
So-
The second item requiring action is to consider adoption of a resolution appropriating funds in the amount of $545,250 for the Walnut Avenue Bicycle and Pedestrian Accommodations Project from West Lee Avenue to First Street. Mr. Pete Peters will make the presentation.
Good evening, Mayor Gross, members of council. I do have before you this evening a resolution to appropriate funds in the amount of $545,250 for the Walnut Avenue Bike and Pedestrian Improvement Project. This phase of the project, as the manager has indicated, will extend from West Lee to the farmers market, at the farmers market to First Street, and will eventually provide bike and pedestrian accommodations along the entire route of Walnut Avenue, all the way to where it meets Wise Avenue to Roanoke city limits. This project is receiving these reimbursable funds by the way of VDOT and the Surface Transportation Block Grant, or STBG. The Roanoke Valley Transportation Planning Organization, the TPO, of which Councilmember Janet Scheid chairs, endorsed this project and allocated the funds for Vinton in 2018. And just recently on March 2nd, VDOT authorized the project to proceed by way of contract. And the town is in final preparations of selecting a design firm to begin designing this stretch of Walnut Avenue. The Finance Committee reviewed this request at their March 12th committee meeting and recommends approval. And just wanted to mention all of Anita and Joey's work on this project as well. Anita has probably been carrying the lion's share of the burden, but there's a team effort and wanted to just acknowledge their contributions. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you, sir. Janet, did you want to make any further comment? I know you've been heavily involved in all the TPO work, and we appreciate the work you've done, by the way. Janet's really done a great job leading the TPO and representing Vinton on that. So I just wondered if you want to make any further comment on that.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to second what Pete, I have a cat fight going on behind me, I'm sorry. I want to second what Pete said about all the work that's gone into applying for these grants and how important it is that we as a town continue to get these grants through the TPO for these projects. I asked Anita today to add up all the money that we've gotten through these grants, the STBG grants that come from the TPO. And for the Walnut Avenue project, the Gus Nix Boulevard project, and the Glade Creek Phase 3 project, we've gotten a total of almost $2.5 million, including this amount that we're talking about approving a resolution for tonight. So $2.5 million. In addition, there's work underway now by staff to apply for smart scale funding for the rest of the Walnut Avenue project. That would be another $7 million. So, you're talking, give or take a few million, you're talking at almost $10 million in funding that could be coming to the state and hopefully will be coming to the state to complete these projects. So, so these funds are important, and the source of the funding is state, federal government. Unfortunately, as many of you may have read in the newspaper today, state revenues for transportation funding are going downhill rapidly with the lack of vehicle sales over the last couple of months and a huge decrease in fuel tax. That's what funds these grants. And so the next year, maybe the next 2 years, are not looking good for these funds. So just kind of a heads up as to what's coming. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Well, thank you, Jenna, for that information, and thank you for the work that you've done on the TPO. I think our staff has done a great job in getting these grants. So
They have.
hopefully, yeah.
As good as
they've
any
worked-
valley, that's for sure.
Yeah, no kidding. They sure have. So, any other comments, questions, council? No. Hearing none, we'll move on to the resolution, which would appropriate the funds for the Walnut Avenue bicycle and pedestrian accommodations as described by Mr. Peters. Is there a motion?
I'll make a,
I'd make a motion to approve the resolution.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Scott, second by Vice Mayor Laws. Susan, please call the roll.
Councilmember McCarty,
Yes.
Councilmember Shad,
Yes.
Councilmember Stovall,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lyles,
Yes.
Mayor Gross.
Yes. Resolution passes. Thank you. Mr. Thompson.
Our first item under briefings is we have a briefing on a draft of an updated Vinton Farmers Market policy and procedure and new branding materials to be used for marketing the farmers market and the Charles R. Hill Community Center. Ms. Chastity Barber will be making a presentation to council.
Good evening, Chastity.
Good afternoon. Oh, hey. Good afternoon, Mayor Gross, Vice Mayor, members of council. How are y'all doing?
Good.
Doing well.
Good.
Good to see everybody's faces. Hopefully we'll get to see you in person soon enough.
Yeah.
I think Susan will put up the 2 slideshows I have, but I come before you this rainy evening to update you on the farmers market policy, rate structure, fee, and branding. Council last adopted the Vinton Farmers Market Policy in 2014 and defined the sale of locally grown and Virginia grown produce products and hours of operation and rental fees. My goal tonight is just to highlight a few of the revisions to the policy. First of all, we have removed the rental fees from the policy and added them to the TOV annual budget document within the TOV taxes, license, and fee schedule. Our hours of operation will be for the 2020-2021 season, Tuesday through Friday, 9 to 6, and Saturday from 9 to 2. The market will be open April through October. We will open back up mid-November to sell Christmas trees as long as the season continues the way that it is. Let's see, the new rental fee schedule is daily is $10, monthly $240, and special events would be $50 daily, and that's just within the market area. So we're not talking about the actual stage, just the actual farmers market. The new rental fees will allow us to increase or decrease the rentals if needed from season to season and based on supply and demand. It will also keep us aligned with the rate structure of the War Memorial and the community center that are also in the TOV budget book. The new branding that you see on the screen is what we're using to bring awareness to the farmers market. This was created by Sherry Winkler, and the small print within the apple represents what we think our market has to offer. We kept the In Vinton green to go along with the TOV's branding that is already established. The next slide is the new branding that we have for the Charles R. Hill Community Center. Much like the farmers market branding, it has also been designed to highlight the many uses available at the community center and hopefully encourage folks to consider renting this facility. You'll see the words in there of love, food, fun, community, family, friendship, and that's just what the us is what the community center is all about. I hope that you will find each new brand's attractive, fun, and a playful way to market these great public facilities. Thank you for allowing me to present this evening, and I'm happy to answer any questions at this time.
Okay. Well, Chastity, thank you very much for that presentation. Oh, I'm sorry, Barry, did you have something else you?
No.
Hey, Chastity, who came up with that?
No.
So, the two, like, I call them like little logos, but brandings, me and Sherry Winkler, who actually designed the War Memorials website, we both worked on that together. She came up with the apple, and I just love all the little words, and I just think we're just a cute little small community. So I just think it was very, I don't know, it's meaningful.
I think it's
Very nice.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's great, I think.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Fresh and
Y'all
new.
very much.
Council, any other comments or questions for Chastity?
Good work, Chastity.
Yeah, good
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Great. All right, thank you very much. So I guess we'll be seeing more about this as time goes along. Mr. Town Manager, I guess you had another item or two, right?
Yes, we have a briefing on the budget. I would like to present the budget. After a very difficult deliberation and review, staff and I are submitting the fiscal year 2021 proposed budget to Town Council and the citizens of Vinton for your consideration. This proposed budget represents a balanced budget despite a large revenue decrease anticipated with the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on our locality. Quality services such as police, public works, planning and zoning, financial services, and community services, which includes our community programs and war memorial facilities, will continue to be offered to the public with minimal services reductions. The fiscal year 2021 proposed budget for all funds totals $11,663,773 and an overall decrease of 4.51%. Under revenues, before the COVID-19 event, the town was beginning to see recovery in several key areas of our local economy. The town is heavily dependent on consumer-driven revenue sources, and staff has forecasted significant decreases in key areas to protect town employees and the services to the town citizens. The town treasurer finance director will present more information regarding the town revenue sources during her presentation tonight. Under expenditures, each department was asked to critically evaluate their budget and identify budget reduction options while maintaining the core government functions of their respective departments. These budget reductions identified by the departments and town management have resulted in a general fund budget that is balanced without the use of fund balance or raising tax rates. This was quite a challenge to accomplish, and we appreciate the assistance of all involved. Budget challenges that we were faced. The proposed budget has the following challenges in personnel or changes in personnel. The elimination of one vacant position in our Public Works Department by moving the bulk collection service from weekly to biweekly. Freezing 3 vacant positions for the duration of the fiscal year, 2 in Public Works and 1 in the Police Department. Freezing of the Assistant Town Manager position for 6 months of the fiscal year due to my upcoming retirement as Town Manager. Programs and services have been evaluated, and we are proposing to consolidate community programs to certain days to reduce the cost of providing these programs to the public while maintaining the same level of service. Although our capital needs are critical, the significant reduction to town revenue resulted in a recommended pause of the CIP program for the fiscal year 2021 budget. The town hopes to reinstate the frozen positions, operating reductions, and capital expenditures as the local economy and revenue collections improve. The town was unable to provide any increase to personnel pay. Virginia Tech had performed a pay study for the town that we were unable to implement with this budget, but would like to implement as funds become available. The town did absorb the health insurance increase for our employees, which kept the employee premiums at the current level. The town also experienced an increase in the Virginia Retirement System contribution rate, as well as the Virginia Retirement System group life insurance rate. To offset the significant increases in health insurance and our Virginia Retirement System benefits, the town had to make the hard decision to significantly reduce travel, training, and employee events. This budget represents my 30th and most difficult budget to prepare in my public service career. I am very proud and appreciative of my staff who have supported me through the process in making the very hard and necessary decisions to create a balanced budget. Although the COVID-19 pandemic was not of our own doing, I am confident that the town will bounce back, be stronger, and will continue to make Vinton the end place to live, eat, work, and play. Finally, a document of the size and magnitude is a product of many individuals. This proposed budget would not be possible without the contributions of our town council, the council finance committee, the finance director treasurer, Ann Cantrell, the executive assistant town clerk, Susan Johnson, the assistant town manager, Richard Peters, the director of human resources risk manager, Donna Collins, the financial services analyst, Brandon Gannon, the town leadership team, and also all of our supporting staff throughout our organization. At this time, I would like to turn the presentation over to our finance director treasurer, Ann Cantrell, who will go through a more detailed presentation by use of a PowerPoint and will give you a lot more detail on the revenues and expenditures. Thank you.
Thank you, Manager Thompson, and good evening, Mayor and members of Town Council. It's good to see you here tonight. I want to say thank you for the opportunity to present this budget to you, even though I know it's not the best budget that we've been able to bring. So I'm going to show you now my screen, and we're going to go through a PowerPoint presentation that we have prepared. Sorry, give me 1 second here. Okay, so everyone should now see the PowerPoint on their main screen.
Mhm.
It's not letting me click through, I'm sorry. Okay, here we go. All right, so our adopted fiscal year 2021 budget represents a decrease of $550,000 or 4.51%. And the capital fund has the largest decrease of this number. It's at a 65% decrease, which is then followed by the general fund with a decrease of 4.77%. The grant fund has no change from last year to this year. The utility fund contains an increase of 2.79%, and the stormwater fund contains an increase of 6.41%. And so as we were preparing the fiscal year 2021 budget, it was drastically different from the budgets prepared in the past. Even during the Great Recession of the 2008 and 2010 era, the impact was spread out over multiple years for local governments instead of having a drastic decrease all at once. Despite this circumstance, town management did its best to hold 5 core principles for the town's budget this year. And that includes quality of life, it includes the quality of services, it includes evaluation of our costs, basically asking, are we being as efficient as possible with our funding, effective replacement of equipment and vehicles, and then identify and apply for our alternative revenue sources or grant funding. So the highlights or a short summary of the fiscal year 21 budget includes freezing of the 3.5 positions mentioned by Manager Thompson, also the elimination of 1 position due to restructuring. The town is utilizing vacant positions to accomplish the reduction, and because of this, no employee will have to be terminated or let go. All current employees will remain employed. That was very important to town management. Capital fund expenditures have been reduced to minimum, and due to the increased benefit costs, the town is also proposing to reduce travel, training, and employee events to offset the higher costs. Although these decisions are not ideal, the staff was able to balance the budget without use of fund balance or propose any increases in the tax rates for this budget. And as we're getting into a little bit more of the details, this graph represents the revenue sources for the general fund. As you can see with the orange bar, other local taxes represents the largest source of income for the town. This category is made up of meals tax, business license, communication, sales and use tax, pari-mutuel tax, and other miscellaneous taxes for the town. This category is expected to have the most impact from the COVID-19 pandemic, which accounts for the large percentage decrease in the general fund next year. The next largest source of revenue is categorical aid, which is made up of funding for highway street maintenance from the state. After that is sales tax, which is based on a percentage of the local funding received by Roanoke County. General property taxes is next. That includes real estate, public service corporation, and personal property taxes. The miscellaneous revenue includes funding from rental income, intergovernmental revenues, interest, and other sources. And lastly, non-categorical aid includes funding from the state for the PPTRA and the House Bill 599 funding from the state for the police department that we have. One of the items that Manager Thompson wanted to present to you was the breakdown of revenue generated by commercial sources in our budget. And you can see here that commercial revenue is a good percentage of our overall income at 59, basically 60% of our budget. I've included the various revenue sources for the breakdown so you can actually see out of the local taxes from commercial area what is the most. Obviously, prepared foods tax or meals tax is our #1 source of revenue from that income. I've also wanted to tell you that there's certain things that I can't say that's Vinton only. For example, state sales tax, it's kind of hard for me to say what that is because we get a percentage of the county's sales tax. And then some of the other ones like communication tax is kind of difficult to pinpoint that one down too. For the utility fund, you can see it is almost 100% funded by operating revenues. And the operating revenues are basically our water and sewer billing that we are sending out bi-monthly for consumption or monthly for our commercial users. As part of Davenport and Company's rate study this fall, Council adopted a resolution that would increase rates 8% on the service charge and 6% on the volumetric rate each July 1st until fiscal year 2023. This includes the upcoming budget year, which is accounting for the roughly 2% increase you were seeing in the budget. This increase was proposed by the rate study to assist in funding major capital improvements needed across the system. And due to revenue loss from our third highest user, we are evaluating with Davenport and Company now if the rate structure that we adopted can still support those improvements that we need to make. And so this slide number 8 actually here is showing the fiscal year 2021 proposed budget by department, and this is in the general fund. So as in the past, public safety is still the largest expenditure for the town. This includes our police department, animal control, and a portion of the Roanoke County E911 Center. The second largest expenditure is the Public Works Department. This includes key items such as highway maintenance, traffic lights and signals, snow removal, refuse collection, recycling, and building and grounds. You can also see other town expenditures on this graph, such as administration, special programs, community, economic development, performance agreements, retiree insurance, travel and training, and fund transfers. To balance the 4.5% decrease in revenue, the first step taken by staff was to delay the capital improvement program in the future budget. And we also removed any operating budget increase asked for the department. So we took everything back down to what it was in the fiscal year 20 budget. After those steps were taken, there was still a significant shortfall to balance the gap between revenue available and planned expenditures. So to balance, town management had to task of choosing between a list of very tough options. These are the recommended reductions from the town management team. They recommend freezing a meter reader position that would move to the finance department with automated meters, freezing a vacant highway streets laborer position, freezing an officer position that was restored last year, eliminating a recycling position by restructuring the bulk service, freezing the assistant town manager position for half the year with the retirement of the town manager, and consolidation of programs to certain days a week to kind of reduce some of our costs associated with offering those programs. We also had to reduce some things such as the town's match for the Greenway Phase 2B. We deferred economic development match funding, and we also reduced the budget for employee events and training. We moved July 4th fireworks costs to a non-departmental account with the cancellation of the event. And we also had to move about $263,000, if you see at the bottom, of all those line items out of the budget for next year. It's a very significant decrease for the town. The total decrease allowed us not to raise taxes or use fund balance. And so that was an important item for us, that during this, we try to keep our tax rates the same. The breakout of positions is included on this table before you, with administration at 3 positions, finance at 5 positions, HR at 1 position, planning and zoning at 3 positions, police at 26 positions. But one note here, a little caveat, one of those positions is fully funded through the DMV Task Force grant. And they are fully on that assignment, not able to help us completely, not able to fully help us in our operation as a police department. And then moving forward, we also have 30 at Public Works, community programs at 3, and that's a full-time total positions of 71. A detail on the frozen positions is included in the classification plan found at the end of your proposed budget document. Unfortunately, the CIP is much different than we originally planned. Before the COVID-19 pandemic, the town had identified a plan to fund $370,000 a year in capital replacement, and we felt like we could take care of most of our needs within a 10-year period. After the revenue losses became apparent, staff had to remove all but $175,000 match, which was required for the Mountain View Road VDOT application to reach our 50% requirement. Should revenues improve during the budget year, the original plan has been included in your budget document for council as a resource for possible appropriation. Now shown is the debt summary for the town of Vinton. The last payment to the county for the Vinton Library will be paid on July 1st, 2020, which means this proposed budget is the last one with this payment. The town will not see the maturity of major payments until 2024 or 2025. At that time, several large balances will be paid, and you can see that on the maturity column there on when these outstanding issuances will be paid off. And so the total debt payment for the general fund is $500,000, with the library payment included in economic development department instead of debt retirement. That's just where we originally elected to charge that payment to. And then the utility fund debt payment is $770,000, with a stormwater debt payment of $38,000. So the total outstanding debt principal is $7.8 million across all of our funds, if you add that up. So on this chart, we're displaying a high level from 1,000-foot look at the breakdown between all the budgets and expenditure categories. At the end, we included the percentage of the total budget. The largest expenditure is in personnel at 43.76%. The next largest is in operating, followed by debt, then capital, and lastly, transfers in operating. And so if you're more of a graph or a visual person, I've also included for you a pie chart here so that you can see how the town is spending its funding across all of the departments. 44% in personnel, 29% in operating, 9% in capital, 11% in debt, 6% in transfers, and a 1% contingency in our utility fund. As part of the budget process, we also want to take a look at our fund balance and explain what our legal requirements are. So the town has a healthy fund balance of 2.9 million at the last audit. Based on current projections, we may use about 103,000 of this balance from economic revenue loss. The projected ending balance is 2.8 million. Our legal requirement is to maintain a 60-day balance, which is based on the fiscal year 2021 budget. That would be 1.2 million. Or you can actually see there the detailed 1194758. However, we do want to make you aware that the town typically utilizes about 1.3 million in working capital. This allows us to pay employees and to pay vendors during times when we are not collecting many revenues, such as the fall and winter. The town has adopted a formal general fund reserve policy in 2017, and that is included in the appendix of the proposed budget document for your review. A majority of our budget calendar items have been completed, and there are a few items remaining. Due to the timing of the advertising in the Benton Messenger, staff did send the public hearing notice last Friday for the proposed budget, and would like to make you aware that it will run in the newspaper for the 2-week period as required by law. The public hearing will be held on June 2nd, followed by a Finance Committee review on June 9th, and the council adoption of the budget on June 16th. So this concludes our budget briefing presentation. We're happy to answer any questions that you may have, and we just want to thank you again for the opportunity to present to you tonight.
Mayor, we'll turn it back over to you if council has any questions or any comments.
Right, Council, you have anything that you'd like to ask tonight? I know we've all been able to take a look at the document already, and as Ann pointed out, we're going to see this thing a few more times, but any questions or comments for tonight? All right. Hearing none, Barry?
I
Yes,
just
sir.
have one. First off, just like to say two things. Barry, you said this was the hardest budget that you've had to do in your 30 plus years. And just before you started this, we told you retirement was not going to come easy for you.
I didn't take that literally when you so.
Yeah. Well, yeah, so we're not going to let you get out of here and easy way out. So
That's what you get.
Just a great job and the presentation and balancing the budget and with everything that you guys had to work through at the beginning or halfway through last year and the beginning of this year. Everything looked great, and it was all of a sudden brakes. We hit the brakes. So I know it was a tough budget to do, but you guys came through. The only thing I was going to ask was, I know that we said we were freezing coming down one position in Public Works. Are we freezing a position in Public Works? And just I'm asking that because I know that when we redid our the trash cans and everything, we were going to come down a position, not really let anyone go, just transition into another area. And come down one on our refuge truck because we bought trash cans and tippers for our truck. Is that one of the ones that were frozen, or did that ever even happen?
That did not happen. After evaluating, I think when we were speaking with council, we were premature in making that statement to council because we did not have the data on the cans, and we did not have the data on the use of the flippers. And when we made that comment to indicate that we could go down that person on the refuge truck, I think we overcommitted and we have not been able to deliver that. What we're talking about now is we would change our structure in our delivery of brush pickup, and we would offer brush on one pickup on 1 week and recycling on the next week. And so we would utilize the employee on the brush truck to also be on the recycling truck, and we would move the second individual off of the recycling truck back to Public Works to one of the unfilled positions. So we would actually eliminate the second position on the recycling truck. So.
Yeah, but if I understand that correctly, Barry, that's temporary, right? I mean, or, you know, we're coming to, is that going to make up the difference of our 5-year plan for the purchase of the trash cans? Because this has nothing to do with COVID or anything. This was something that we all agreed upon. And I know that we're saying now that we misspoke and we did this, but we are still looking for $200,000 to pay for these trash cans. So and that was part of the plan. So
we never,
how we're going to make that up going forward if we're not going to come out with our original plan.
We ended up not having to use our surplus, our unappropriate surplus to pay for those cans. Our revenues didn't. So our plan was to use the unappropriate surplus to purchase the cans, and so we did not have to do that. So, and that was the makeup right there. So,
well, I mean, it's still taxpayer money. I mean, it doesn't matter where it's coming from. We were going to make it up one way or the other, and it was actually going to pay for itself. So that was the whole plan, was for it to pay for itself, not use money from somewhere else. And I mean, this is like the first I heard of that. I mean, I thought we were still on our plan. So anyway, I guess we can discuss this at a future meeting when it comes down to approving the budget. But I just want to, I guess I'm a little disappointed in we got away from our plan and no one really knew about it. And so again, it's just when I was thinking that position was being eliminated, or not really eliminated, but again, transferred over to another, or through transition period, I was thinking, and then we were going to come down another one now, just for the temporary purposes of saving some money, but really we're not saving any money other than just really moving one. The citizens are not getting bulk pickup every week. They're going to get every 2 weeks now. So again,
that's what we're proposing. That's what we're proposing. Yes.
I could just add my 2 cents to this. I appreciate Vice Mayor Lyle's concerns here and his comments. As Barry and Brad both know, I have talked about this over the last year in terms of and I'll just call it what I think it was at the time, was the promise that we were going to go from 4 people on a trash truck to 3 people on a trash truck, and we were going to use you know, the savings from that one employee to pay for the cost of the trash trucks, which turned out to be a little shy of $200,000. And I can distinctly remember sitting in a council meeting, and it was so long ago that Matt Hare was still there. And it was a decisive factor in our decision to move ahead with those trash cans, was the fact that we could reduce our personnel costs and pay for those trash cans with that. Now, I realize that may be water under the bridge at this point, but I have to agree with Vice Mayor Lyles that it is still a little bit hard to understand precisely why we can't go from 4 to 3 on that truck. And I don't think it's worth giving up on that idea. My other concern has to do, and I'm glad to see the bulk brush going every other week. I've advocated that since before I got on council. My concern is at this point that we're picking up a lot of the cardboard with bulk brush. And I fear that now that we are doing that, that we're going to have a lot of cardboard sitting out for 2 weeks, waiting for the right cycle of brush or bulk to come pick it up. And we all know what's going to happen to that cardboard. It's going to blow all over the neighborhood and down the street and be in my yard and Keith's yard and Brad's yard and everybody else's yard. It's not going to stay there. So that's a concern of mine. And I don't, we might have to put on some creative thinking caps and figure out how we're going to deal with that problem.
Yeah, I certainly agree with you. We do have some challenges there that somewhat unexpected. So I think that's a good way to put it, Janet. We'll have to do some creative thinking. I was thinking maybe the additional cat that you had there could help us out somehow, but I don't know, maybe.
They're too busy fighting with each other and chasing their.
Glad they could attend the meeting.
Mayor, I just have to agree. I like that with Janet too, creative thinking. And that's what I thought we had done about 1.5 years ago. So
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry.
about 9 months ago, I thought, or a year and 9 months ago, something like that. I thought we had been creative, but evidently we weren't. So,
Mr. Mayor.
Well, yes, sir. Mike, go ahead.
I got some comments later about a couple of things, but let me say this: when I took over, or when I got on council, I had some conversations with Councilwoman Scheid, and I wasn't involved in the process when the trash cans were voted on, put in place, those steps were taken. I wasn't involved in that. Got on council, was briefed on that. And, this is one of the things that I have to say, and I'll say this in honor of Councilwoman Scheid, that she has been adamant to the fact of back in that day, when that decision was made, that there was 4 that will go to 3 to pay for the trash cans. I did go back when she told me that, because one of the things that I try to do is educate myself. I did go back and I did educate myself in that process, and I did read and I did see what she said, and then I've talked to, of course, Councilman Lyles and Councilwoman McCarty. And I get moving the money. I get one-time money. Can't spend $1 but one time. I get the operating money. It goes into the operating fund. But I will say this, and I'll say this to her commitment as being a member of Benton Town Council. And I have a question at the end of this, and I'll ask the question now, and then somebody can answer it. I saw the other day the truck issue as far as the employees are concerned. However, back to my point, Councilwoman Scheid has always asked that question, and that question has always come up. In my time on council, and I've been on council 2 years, July 1, she's asked that question in my thoughts 3 times. And if that truly was the commitment that was made to council in order to approve those trash cans, then once again, I think that's an issue that we truly have to address. And once again, her passion, as I've said to you, is pretty evident that it's still there, because she's got, Councilwoman Scheid, what do you have, 6 weeks left, 5 weeks left, whatever you have, and
Yes.
you still bring that up again. So anyway, I just think it's something we need to address. Vice Mayor Lyles makes a great point as far as the budget is concerned, and what we presented to people. So anyway, that's my thoughts on that.
Well, and I appreciate all those comments, and you're right. Vice Mayor and Jen both have brought it up several times, and we've talked about it here at council meetings several times. But maybe it's what we need to do is to ask our Public Works Committee to go back and take another look at it and see if there is some creative way that we can cut back to the third, cut back to 3 crew members on the refuge vehicle. If not, then we need to put this behind us and try to make up that revenue from another source. But I think it's going to involve the buy-in completely of a lot of folks, and so I don't know. I think maybe at this point the Public Works Committee should take another look at that and see if there's something that we need to change to try to achieve that goal of just 3 folks on refuge.
Let me ask that question again. And once again, sitting beside her and in honor of her and the work that she's doing, just a couple of questions. Don't need those answered right now. Can get those answered at the next council meeting. But first off, we've got a gray trash truck and a white trash truck. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And so with that being said, of course, that's 2 trash trucks. So I get it in talking, because I've had I think 4 or 5 conversations with the trash crew. So with the 4th to the 3rd, if you have 4 on the truck and you start at a certain time, you get off earlier. If you have 3 on the truck, then you may have to work a little later. So my question is, and it doesn't have to be answered right now. I'm not asking for it to be answered, but was that 2 trucks involved in the questioning or in the decision to cut back from 4 to 3? If you want to answer it, you can. You don't have to answer it. I'm just, in the position of the time frame for Councilwoman Scheid. That's just a couple questions I've had to ask.
It was all involved with the purchase of the new truck and the use of the flippers and the new carts.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, you guys, that I brought or turned this rock over during this meeting. However, my whole point is really it's not about really the trash cans. It's about, we would not have moved forward,
right,
if we had the correct information and we were given what we wanted to hear, is the way I think. There was, I don't know, we've never even, I don't know, but I mean, my whole point here is we would not have done what we did had we have gotten the right research and the right answers to the questions that we were asking in the beginning. So to the mayor's point, yeah, we're here at this point and there's kind of no turning back. We got to put water under the bridge and we got to figure it out. But going forward, I don't want to be in this position anymore.
No.
If we say we're going to do something, that's what we expect that to be done, or we don't move forward. I just think that, that's the bottom line right there is it doesn't matter now, to the mayor's point, but we wouldn't be in this position had we have gotten the right answers or the right research done and not told, yeah, we can do that. Then we put ourselves in this position and now we can't. So I guess just going forward, the thing that we learned from here is do your research, make sure that you can deliver on the questions that you're asking and the answers that you're giving. I guess is the final comment that I have here is, again, I guess you can tell I'm very disappointed in that, the answers that we got. So.
Well, and having said all that, I mean, I would agree. We do have to count on the information we get. And as the mayor has said, there's nothing we can do. Well, there's maybe nothing we can do about it now. I'm still not totally convinced. I've been told that we can't do it with 3, but I haven't been given any details about why that is. And so I'm not totally convinced that that's not the case. Having said all that, I'm glad we moved forward with it. I think the trash
Sure.
cans are great.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I do think it's reduced, trash blowing around the neighborhood. I think it looks better. I think it's better for the environment and better for the town. So it's not that I regret that we made that decision. I regret that we made the decision based on faulty information.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, and I agree. I think we would have probably moved forward because there was a lot of passion about changing to the carts, and I think it was the right thing to do. But as the vice mayor has mentioned, it's just that it actually comes down to the money, and we're not saving the money that we thought we would. And if there's any creative way to do that, if the Public Works Committee has a suggestion, or maybe just part of the money, I don't know. That's great, but if not, then we may have to move on. You know.
Mr. Mayor, I got one other thing on the budget, if I
Sure.
should mention it. Naturally, I could sit here and talk all night about the work that the staff has done.
Yeah.
We go to naturally the work that the treasurer's office has done, all the different things that they've dealt with during this pandemic that none of us expected. I pray to God that of course this doesn't ever happen again. You look at our risk or our police department, the people they come in contact with, fire and rescue. You look at the public works people. All I want to do tonight, Mr. Mayor, in the middle of the budget process, is to plant the seed. I'm a firm believer in this, in faith that we're going to come out of this. We've seen a little bit of sunshine right now. We're going to see some more sunshine. We're going to get back to the fact of where we are, Manager Thompson, to the fact that things were great. And when we get to that point, I'd like to plant the seed tonight that the first and foremost thing that we look at is the employees of the town of Benton. Now, how do we do that? We've got one or two options. We either look at one-time money for the employees of the town of Benton to be able to say to them, in this word, I know a lot of people get in government get a little edgy on this word, but is it a bonus, number one, or whatever that is, one-time money, or secondly, do we inject into our budget a percentage that now becomes part of our operating budget? But I think planting the seed tonight, naturally we can't respond on it because we know where we are percentage wise. But I think that we just need to say to them, because they are truly the people, and they've come in contact with a lot of different things. I mean, people talk about all the different things with what we're dealing with. One of the people that I highly respect, and I'll say this just to get on the COVID just a moment, not my wife, but one of the people that I highly respect in the field of medicine said to me yesterday, she looked at me and she said, Mike, we have a vaccine for the influenza, and we lost about 40,000 people last year. So that vaccine's not there yet, but you look at all the different ways that they say that the COVID-19 can be transmitted, and our employees are dealing with that. So, Mr. Mayor, what I'm saying to you is, and to council is that I just want to plant that seed tonight, that once we come out of this and we get into the clear skies, the sunshine, that the first and foremost thing that we look at is the employees.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I certainly agree. Thank you for those comments, Councilman Stovall, and I agree with you. Our staff has done a great job, and we need to remember that when things get a little better. Hopefully that'll be soon. Yes. I'm sorry, did I hear someone else? No. Okay.
Mr. Mayor,
There's a bird beside you.
as part of the finance committee, again, I thank staff. It's been a lot of work. It's been a lot of work for Barry and Pete and Ann and everyone else in the town. The finance committee has pulled their weight, and it's been a tough few months. But I think the budget's the best it can be, and I appreciate everybody's work on it.
Yeah. Thank you, Jen, for that, because you're exactly right. I mean, it's when things are going good and revenues are where we like them, we get to do all these nice things, one celebrates. But during these tough times, our finance folks really have to step up to bat. They've done a great job. So even though they maybe don't receive a lot of accolades during these times, they should, because this is when they really shine. So thank you, folks, for all that.
Yeah.
Okay, where are we, Mr. Manager? Did you have any further comments this evening?
I do have a couple items.
Okay.
Chief Foster wanted me to let you know that he's not participating in the meeting tonight because it's his 30th wedding anniversary.
Oh, yeah.
And he wanted me to say to you guys that he's married to the luckiest woman he knows. So anyway, he wanted me to pass on that to council that the William Byrd graduation procession went fantastic this morning, even though it was raining, and that the police department was proud to be a part of that, and that we wanted to wish all of the William Byrd graduates congratulations and well wishes for their futures.
All right, thank you, Barry.
And I do have a email from the Roanoke County Registrar with the results of tonight's election. Would you like me to share those?
We're on
Oh,
pin-
absolutely. Do we need a drum?
Don't share them if somebody's on this call lost. If they lost the race, don't share. Please don't share it if they lost.
We had the mayor, Brad Gross. He received 410 votes. We had for mayor, also 5 write-ins. And for council, we had Lori Mullins with 343 votes and Keith Lyles with 373 votes. And also there were 5 write-ins. So.
All right. All right.
So congratulations. Congratulations to all of the winners there. So,
okay.
Barry,
Thank
those
you.
numbers of voters are pretty much in line with what we usually have, isn't it?
I believe so. Yes. I believe that I don't have the numbers for the actual ones that came into the municipal building, but I believe it was in the upper 50s as of around 5 o'clock today. So
Cool. Congratulations to all of you.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's awesome. That's awesome. Wow. Yeah, there must have been an incredible number of absentee ballots. Well,
Hey,
thank
we
you.
made some money for the post office this year.
They need it.
Say what?
We made some money for the post office this year.
That's right.
Exactly. All right. Anything else, Mr. Manager?
no, that is all I have tonight. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for all that good news. All right. Our committee reports tonight. It looks like Ann, you're up again with the Finance Committee.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. So the Finance Committee held a monthly meeting last week on May 11th via the Zoom platform, and several of the items discussed were also on the council agenda earlier tonight. These items include the budget appropriation for the census grant, the budget appropriation for the Walnut Avenue grant, the budget forecast for fiscal year 2020, the fiscal year 2021 proposed budget, and the one item that we still need to bring before council is the March 2020 financial statements. And so I have these up on the screen that you should be able to see. As of March, we had a very good looking financial statement. And so this is actually really sad looking back because it just was one of the best that we had seen. The general fund revenues were at 110% of our budget expectation. Expenditures, you can see there, were at 97%. So we were bringing in more money than we anticipated, and we were still underspent as of March 31st. Several of the key economic indicators, such as sales tax, meals tax, and business license, were performing much better than our budget expectations before this COVID-19 event. The grant fund revenue is on a reimbursement basis. And at the end of March, revenues were at 6% of all the budgeted grants we had, and expenditures were at 15%. And so I'm going to scroll down here to show you some more of the funds. The utility fund was at 106% of our revenue expectation, and then the expenditures were at 91%. So we see the same trend as the general fund. Our revenues were coming in above our budget expectations, and we were underspending on our expenses. The capital fund and stormwater fund do not have direct revenue sources. They are instead funded through a transfer from the general fund and the utility fund. And as of March 31st, the capital fund was 32% of our budget expectation, and the stormwater fund was at 72%. So across all of the town funds, we were at 84% of our budget for revenue and 75% of our budget for expenditures. Based on actual data, the town had collected $9,033,830, and we had spent $9,254,929 in expenditures. So our year-to-date deficit from July 1 to March 31st was $221,100. And this is not unusual for us in the general fund, especially because our tax due dates are May and June. So the general fund typically operates in a deficit most of the fiscal year until we get to that cash collection period. And so if we start talking about cash, as of March 31st, the general fund cash was approximately $847,000. The grant fund was a negative $92,000. The utility fund was approximately $1.4 million. The capital fund was $297,000, and the stormwater fund was $121,000. And the total cash across all the funds was $2.6 million. And if we talk about the investment side, the general fund had an investment balance of $2.3 million. The utility fund had an investment balance of $975,000. And the total investment account balances were $3.2 million. And the fund balances, the town's primarily how we invest our fund balance is we actually put it into an investment account so that we earn interest income on that. And it's transferred to the cash accounts throughout the year to balance our payments to vendors and employees as we need for our cash flow to make all of our payments fit in line with our revenue collection. And so I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have regarding this March 2020 financial report. And we do recommend a formal approval of the report presented to you tonight.
Okay, Ed, thank you very much. Council, you've heard the report. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, we'll entertain a motion to accept the report as presented.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay, well, I think I heard a motion by Vice Mayor Lyles, a second by Councilmember Scheibe. All in favor of accepting the report, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you. Just a couple of things under the mayor section tonight, and we've touched on them a little bit previously, so I'll try to be brief. But I do want to thank our town staff once again, certainly the budget committee and the finance committee for the work on the budget, but our entire staff. Actually, I know these are challenging times, and our staff, as usual, they have really stepped up to bat. I mean that sincerely. You know, there's always a little extra work that has to be done when things aren't done by the normal procedure, and they've really stepped up to bat. So I appreciate them so much. And Councilman Stovall's correct. We need to keep that in mind as we go forward as far as funding goes. And I'd also like to mention to the citizens of Vinton that they can be confident, as I am, that we'll continue to deliver those core services we've talked about, the water and the sanitary sewer, and of course, trash collection and those things. I've mentioned this before, but I just want to reiterate that even though this budget figures we heard tonight were rather scary, when you start talking about 4.5% decrease, that's big bucks, and and there will have to be cutbacks, but the citizens can be assured that we'll deliver those services in the usual and customary manner. Also, I certainly want to thank the citizens of Vinton for the opportunity to serve them as another term as mayor. And I pledge to work hard for all the citizens of Vinton. And I certainly ask for your prayers as we face challenges together and as we celebrate our victories together. The town of Vinton has a great future in my mind, and I am just confident that it'll remain a great place to live and work, and as Barry mentioned earlier, to eat and do all those recreational activities. We have some exciting economic development projects in progress now, and in addition to that, everyone should know that we're working hard to maintain and improve our neighborhoods. So I thank you for your support and your prayers, and I pray that all the citizens of Vinton will be blessed as we move forward. One last thing I wanted to mention, a very special item. I have my jacket on. This is as close as I could get to Burgundy, or it is a Burgundy jacket, to William Byrd High School collars, because this is a very special day. It's this Terrier Day in Vinton. And of course, we want to recognize and salute the 2020 graduating class of William Byrd High School. And as I mentioned to some of the folks when we signed the proclamation the other day, the 2020 class is a very special group of people. They were born in the shadow of 9/11. They lived through the Great Recession, and now they are confronted by the pandemic of 2020. They will always be known as a strong and residual group, and they're very resilient. And I'm just very excited about their future and about what they are going to accomplish, and about what great citizens and leaders this group of people will be. What an exciting time for this town and this state and even this country. And much of it is because of the people of the 2020 graduating class. I pray that God will bless all of them. And with that, I will turn it over to town council this evening. Mr. Vice Mayor, I'll start with you.
Okay, great. Thanks, Mayor. And congratulations, by the way.
Oh, thank you. And to you too.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I want to say thank you to the citizens again, and welcome Lori to council, and let Janet know that just like Barry, you got 6 weeks, but we're not going to take it easy on you either. So although, yeah, I know you'll give it all you got the last 6 weeks. So, but welcome Lori also to council. I know that we were really, like I said before, with the budget, and just looking phenomenal from our town, kind of back in the heyday of Vinton, when downtown was bustling, and there was a lot of revenue coming through the town, but setbacks happen, and you said, Mayor, that you're looking forward to working hard the next 4 years, and that's what it's going to take. It's going to take some hard work, but we were on track, and I think we can easily get back on track again. There's a lot of interest in our town. There is a lot of excitement around our town, and our town has a lot to offer. And we have, we're just getting started, the way I like to see it. We have a lot of transformation going on, and we'll be right back where we needed to be and surpass that in no time. So really looking forward to the next 4 years and getting us back to where, well, hopefully it won't take 4 years. It's going to take just whenever we get back to whatever we're going to call normal going forward. And then it won't take us too long to get back there. I think our citizens and our community and the excitement that we have, the momentum that we have, the staff in this town, it won't take us long to get right back where we were and surpass that. So really looking forward to it. Thanks again, Ann and staff, for the budget. And I agree with Mike. Whenever that new normal is, we do need to look after our employees. And I'm looking forward to doing that in the near future too. So with that, I just want to say Happy Carrier Day and God bless.
All right. Thank you, sir. All right. Councilmember McCarty, you have anything further this evening?
Yeah, I just wanted to, I'd mentioned it before about the parade today and how cool it was to see that happening in our town. I think everybody was very excited about it. I want to thank the folks that have been out there working the entire time that all of this started. There's a lot of folks that have never really stopped, that the essentials, I guess is what they're calling it, but all the folks in the hospitals, the trash, the mail, everything that, all of the folks, just one more thank you for everything that they've done and continue to do. I was able to go to our farmers market the other day. They have some wonderful fruits and veggies and plants down there. So I just encourage folks to go down there and check that out. And as always, try to support our local restaurants. And let's try to get it on Facebook when we go there so everybody else can see. They may not have realized that we even have that in our town. So, and also, guys, I just want to say cool bow ties tonight. Someone, I think, asked on Facebook, what's up with the bow ties? And I don't really know the answer to that, but you guys look sharp. So I just wanted to let you know that.
Well, I'd have put one on. I had one. I let a buddy of mine borrow it. I couldn't find it. So anyway, y'all do look nice.
Just for fun. Got to have a little fun.
That's right.
That's for sure.
I don't know what it is about us getting, once we started working from home, but, the last council meeting that we had live on, the last council meeting that we had, the mayor wore a tuxedo. And then just talking to him, he was like, I think we should all wear bow ties. I don't know where he's got this new fascination with bow ties, but I have a feeling going forward, we're going to see a lot more bow ties from the mayor.
Well, I'll go, I can promise you, I'll go buy me. I didn't buy me a tux, but I will go buy me a bow tie. I had one, but I couldn't find it. So anyway,
you got to be ready, brother. That's right. They look great.
I like Councilwoman McCarty's thoughts about maybe the next time we do derby hats. Now we do some derby hats, we will look good. Yeah. Derby hats will be good.
Yeah, I think so.
There you go. Sounds like a winner to me. Well, thank you. Thank you, Sabrina, for those remarks. And so, Councilmember Stovall, you have anything further tonight?
I do, Mr. Mayor. Naturally, as I said earlier in my comments, I had some more comments that I want to say at the end. And, we can all sit here and talk about our resumes and all that, but truly tonight, with everybody watching, I want to pause for a moment and congratulate Janet Shine, Councilwoman Shine, for her time on Benton Town Council. Actually, we have sat beside each other. I was talking Sunday at the golf course about with someone that worked for the county, and her and I were standing there talking, and I said this to her, and I'm gonna say it tonight. The first thing is that I love the game of baseball, and back when my son Patrick was younger, we coached baseball together, and I won 4 state championships in travel baseball. And one of the things that Janet Shine brings to the table is game ready. I mean, she's game ready. She answers. She does have a lot of great questions, sometimes the hard questions, but she's game ready. And then I said on Sunday when I was having this conversation with the person that used to work for the county, was the fact that the passion, truly the passion that she's brought Now, I did say tour, which I will say tonight. I've been married to Patsy for 31 years. I don't always agree with Patsy, and I have not always agreed with Janet. But however, thank you. Thank you for your service and sitting beside you. You know, I love that seat I sat in because it's a completely different thing. But Billy Openchain and I go back a long ways, and I know with all the different history there. But 6 weeks will come quick. We'll walk away from the 6 weeks. But I did want to pause tonight, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for recognizing. But Janet, I want to say to you, thank you for your service to the council.
Thank you.
You betcha. Thank you, Mike, for those comments, and purposely left Janet for the last because we all want to thank you, Janet. You've done a great job. You've brought a lot to council. We still got a couple of council meetings, but thank you for the work you've done. And you have anything further tonight?
Well, I do. I just want to congratulate the candidates. I know it's been a little bit of a strange year with the COVID-19 and the moving of the election day. But, you know, public service is the passion. And I think that anyone who steps up to serve deserves to be congratulated. So I congratulate Keith and Brad. And I also want to welcome Lori to the council. I know she'll do great. I don't really know her all that well, but I just have a feeling that anybody that's willing to serve in the public sector like this has a good heart and will work hard at it. So congratulations to all three of you. I wanted to ask Pete what the latest update on the Lime scooters is.
Well, our planner, Nathan McClung, had a conversation with the administration or the government liaison for Lime. They were dropped off by accident. They had actually no intention of being within the town limits. So this distribution crew located this nice street corner in front of the municipal building and in between the library and dropped them off, but they were in the wrong location. So they did come and pick them up today. And Nathan did an excellent job of communicating to that group about if their intentions are to locate in town, the proper procedures to do so. They did indicate that they may consider that in the future, but they're going to see how this disbursement goes in the city of Roanoke this year over the summer and see what the ridership is before they plan any expansion.
All right. Thanks, Pete. And thanks you all for the kind words. I've got another month, 2 more meetings, so I'll keep working hard.
I'm sure you will. Thank you, Janet. Is there anything further to come before council this evening? No. I would like to mention one last thing. Pete and I were talking about this earlier. And do you guys realize that if the Lord allows me to finish out this term that I just got elected to, I'll be old enough to run for president. I'm sorry.
Well, John Kennedy was 31 when he ran. Are you 31 or how old are you?
Well, somewhere around there.
Maybe 32. 35. 35.
35.
Constitution says 35.
Yeah. Folks, it's been great. Thank you for your participation tonight. If there's nothing further for council, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
A motion
I'll second.
and a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye and turning off your computer. Thank you, folks. God bless.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.